Hello everyone, this is Adnan from Black Button Geeks. Today we are going extreme. Republic of Gamer Rampage 5 Extreme motherboard from ASUS. Let's start with the unboxing. Putting the motherboard on the side. You can see the motherboard comes into two boxes inside. Let me just do this in a handy way. Put this aside and start opening. First we'll start with a small box. It will definitely come with a bunch of accessories. Let us see them. Oh my god, that's a nice door hanger. Game on, you shall not pass. Thank you, Gandalf. And then game off, you may enter whenever you are not playing. I/O panel, I really wish it wasn't black, but this will do. Big, fat, thick user manual. Nice stickers that you can stick to your cables to label them. These are labeling stickers. A CD that will have a bunch of outdated drivers. You definitely need to go to their website to download the latest. Never rely on this CD. A small quick start guide. Moving to the other, I like really this compartmental design. Moving to the other compartment, I have a two-way SLI bridge if you have two graphics cards from NVIDIA. Three-way SLI bridge if you have three graphics cards from NVIDIA. And a four-way SLI bridge if you have four cards from NVIDIA. Let me open this one at least to have a look on how. See, the four-way SLI can connect all your four graphics cards to enjoy the maximum glory. Then one crossfire bridge. Of course, you might ask, why would I have only one for AMD? I also can go 4 cards in AMD because AMD cards come included with crossfire bridges. NVIDIA cards, they don't, they rely on the motherboard manufacturer. Now, for me personally, I will be going with the three-way SLI. Let me just open this one. This is the three-way SLI that came with the motherboard. I will not be going for this because of its looks. I will be going for the nice one from NVIDIA. The one that is designed with a gray color to match my reference cards and the nice logo of this claw that illuminates green whenever it is in action. Anyway, moving ahead. Moving to the next compartment. This is a 5 1/4 drive bay to host my OC panel, which I'll cover when I open the other box. So leave it aside for now. Let me see the last bunch of cables here. This is a nice antenna that we'll be using to connect your, to boost your Wi-Fi signal, because this motherboard comes with Wi-Fi. Lots and lots of, 6 actually, of SATA cables. Okay, 3 of them are angled, 90-degree angles, and 3 of them are straight, depending on your orientation or your preference. Couple of cables, these cables are sensors. They are very thin and light cables. These sensors you can place anywhere in your case or your motherboard and connect the other side to your OC panel to have nice measurements of your heat. Then we have our nice concept from ASUS, which so far I saw only with ASUS, the Q connector. And instead of connecting your little connectors of reset and power and LED to the motherboard directly, you connect them to this little Q connector and then take the whole connector as one piece and put it on the motherboard. This helps especially when you have difficult access to your little pins. The last piece is the ROG cable, which connects your OC panel to your motherboard. Of course, your OC panel will require also power, which we'll cover now when we see. Moving to the big box, I have only 2 pieces in here, but they are the most essential pieces. First, the OC panel. This is a nice tool that comes with ROG motherboards. In Extreme motherboard, it comes with the motherboard. In the rest of ROG line, it is an optional item that you can purchase. It can be mounted either outside, like this, or inside by converting it and connecting it to your the included drive bay. It will provide you really nice readings and measurements, so that for your extreme overclocking, it can be opened here and you can connect extra sensors. It's really handy, but it's meant for extreme overclocking, especially LM2. Next, we move to the motherboard itself. Let me remove this cover and smell the glory. I wish this was a smell-o-vision. Okay, I had to do this. Now, when taking the motherboard out, make sure you ground yourself or have an anti-static strap. Then try to take it from any non-conductive piece, like the heat sinks. Okay, Let me put this box upside down so that I can host my motherboard here. And let me start going through the different areas of this motherboard. Let me start with the I/O side. First, you have the clear CMOS button, where you can clear your CMOS after a messy overclock, and if your computer doesn't boot anymore. Then you have the ROG Connect. This is extremely handy thing. ROG Connect is a feature available in ASUS motherboard where this particular USB port is accessed by the BIOS directly. If you have a BIOS upgrade and you don't have any Windows installed or any thing installed, then you can just put your BIOS on a flash card, insert it in this USB port, and press this ROG Connect, and your BIOS will communicate with your flash card directly and get the new BIOS update. You have a PS2 port for backward compatibility. Personally, I don't see this necessary anymore because all new mice and keyboards are coming as USB. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10 USB 3 ports. Big improvement from previous generation, X79. An Intel Gigabit Ethernet connector. A 3-way Wi-Fi, where you can connect that external antenna to boost your signal. And a nice 5.1 sound, color-coded with a standard, along with SPI-DIF port if you want to take your digital audio out to an amplifier. Moving to the SATA ports. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 normal SATA ports. 4 more that can also be used as normal ports. But if you have a SATA Express connection, which is this thick, then it will be 8 plus 2 SATA Express connections. Again, the combination is either 12 normal SATA ports or 8 normal SATA plus 2 SATA Express. SATA Express drives are not available in the market yet, at least at the time of recording this video. I never seen anyone except some prototypes and rumors and news. But whenever they come, you have the option for that. This is the motherboard. Starting with the CPU socket. ASUS claim this is called the OC socket, which is an improved socket from the Intel standard socket. I think patent is still pending at the time of recording this video for the OC socket. Now ASUS say this OC socket will provide you better overclocking than the normal Intel socket. This has to be proven by LN2 overclockers. Let's see. This CPU socket will support only the Haswell E processors, the 5820K, which is a 28 lanes processor, 6 cores, 5930K, which is a 40 lane, 6 cores processors, 5960X, which is a 40 lane, 8 cores processors, the first consumer 8 core processor from Intel. When it comes to memory, this motherboard supports DDR4 memory because it is an X99 based motherboard. As you can see, you have 2 colors for the memory DIMMs, for the memory DIMM sockets. First, because this is a quad channel memory. If you have 1 kit of DDR4, then you will fill the red ones. If you have 2 kits, then you will fill the black ones and the red ones. Don't start with the black ones first. This is clear in the manual of the motherboard. Moving to this corner of the motherboard, which I like to call the overclocking corner. First, you have the 24-pin standard connector to power on your motherboard. You have the 8-pin for the CPU and the 4-pin also. 2 of them are there to provide extra power, which will help you a lot in overclocking. This is an overclocking tweaked motherboard. We have a bunch of buttons here which have different functionalities and connectors also. We have fan connectors, couple of them. We have total 9 fan connectors in this motherboard. 3 of them are in this corner. We have an LED here that shows 7-segment LED actually, which shows some status. This helps you while overclocking. You have a switch here to switch off your PCIe connectors. If you are overclocking and you want to troubleshoot or limit your bandwidth or do whatever, then you can disable your PCI lanes or PCI X16 connectors from this switch, using this switch. You have the on-off switch to enable the slow mode. You have the mem OK button, which can boot your you can boot your motherboard in a safe mode as far as memory goes if you go crazy in overclocking the memory. You have a start and a reset button available here. Why? Because when you do a lot of overclocking, you prefer to keep your case open, or sometimes even without a case at all. In such cases, when you don't have a case, where is your reset or your start button? It's right here. Actually, I like the reset button more because it is black button. www.blackbuttongeeks.com. Then you have a USB 3 port here, standard USB 3, connects to any USB 3 port in your chassis or in your case. You have also this M.2 connector here for storage. We already spoke about the SATA potential in this motherboard, the SATA storage. The M.2 is a new standard that can give you much higher speeds than SATA because it connects directly to your PCI lanes, avoiding the SATA bus limitations. Of course, I couldn't see a proper M.2 drive also in the market yet. They are yet to come, but they have really high potential. One thing I would like to thank ASUS for is the design of their heat sinks. This heatsink that covers the VRMs, which use also direct CU technology with heat pipes going all the way here, and this heatsink that covers the North Bridge are really beautiful. They are really, the curves and the designs are really good. The orientation of the words also, the word ASUS here and the word Republic of Gamers here is really great, because when you put your motherboard in your case, it will be vertical and these will be in the correct orientation. Unlike this extreme word here, which is not in correct orientation. I would have preferred it if it is just like the others, but definitely it would have been smaller. Anyway, that's a minor point. Moving to this side, we have the standard connectors that connect to your chassis: reset, power, LEDs, hard disk LED and power LED. We have a switch BIOS button, which is really useful because this motherboard comes with dual BIOS. You can switch between BIOSes in case you mess up in your overclocking configuration. We have a USB 2 connector. We have some more fan connectors. We have a USB 3 connector also here. This is the second USB 3 connector in this motherboard. You have 2 of them now. So in addition to the 12 USB 3 ports that come with the motherboard, you can connect up to 4 more, which makes it 16 whopping USB 3 ports. Thank you, ASUS. Moving to the PCI lanes. This motherboard has extreme potential from the name for PCI Express connectivity. We have the red connectors, which are Gen 3, and the black ones, which are Gen 2. We mentioned before that this motherboard can support a 28-lane CPU, which is the Core i7-5820K, or a 40-lane CPUs, which is either the Core i7-5930K or 5960X. If we are using a 5820K, which is a 28-lane processor with a single graphics card, then it will go to the first slot and give you a 16X of Gen 3 bandwidth. If you are using 2 cards, then you will go in the first slot and the second slot, which is this one, not this one. This is slot number 2. There is a lot of spacing between them. I'll come to that. And it will give you a 16X plus 8X. Okay? It cannot give you 16 plus 16 because it has 28 lanes. 16 plus 16 is 32, basic math. So it will give you 16 plus 8. If you are using 3 cards, then it will give you 1, 2, and 3. This is slot number 3. Okay, this is slot number 4, the last one. In many motherboards, it's slots 1, 2, 3, and 4. In this one, it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, why do we have always a space between 1 and 2? Many graphics cards, especially the aftermarket cooler graphics cards, not the reference cards, require some clearance or space to get intake air. So if your card is typically a dual slot, it will take 1 and 2, or triple slot even, 1, 2, and 3. Then you need some space, and then your next card will come. This if you go for a configuration of 2 cards. If you go of configuration of 3 cards, then unlikely you will have any space between your cards because they'll be cramped next to each other. Now, if you go 3 cards with a 28-lane processor, they'll be running at 8x, 8x, 8x. Practically, the difference between 8x and 16x is really not that high in benchmark and games. 4-way SLI and 4-way crossfire is not supported in 28-lane processor on this motherboard. Now, when it comes to 40-lane processor, now, before going to 40-lane processor, you would ask, if I'm going 8, 8, 8, that is 24. And my CPU supports 28. Where is the rest of the lanes? There are 4 lanes reserved for your M.2. If you remember, M.2 connects directly to your PCI bus, and it requires 4x of your Gen 3 PCI lanes. Moving to the 40-lane processors, 5930K and 5960X, they will be either 16x if you use 1 card, 1616 if you use 2 cards, 1688 if you use 3 cards, and 8888 if you use 4 cards. 4-way SLI or crossfire is supported in 40-lane processors. Last but not least is the sound portion of this motherboard. Most of the motherboards, the normal motherboards, will not have good or extreme sound built in. You would typically require an external sound card if you are a serious gamer. But in this motherboard, the built-in sound gives you equal quality to dedicated sound cards. Of course, if you are an audiophile, if you are an audio editor, or you have very special needs, you will still require a dedicated sound card with for such requirements. But for gaming, the built-in sound here is superb. The ASUS has electrical separation of the sound portion of the motherboard, which illuminates. This electrical separation ensures no noise and no interference with the rest of the motherboard. It is graded, and don't forget, ASUS along with Creative Labs are maybe the best manufacturer of dedicated sound cards. So when they do sound, they do it right. Thank you all. I covered as much as I could in this motherboard. I didn't touch a lot on the overclocking capability. This is definitely a high-end overclocking motherboard, in addition to being a Republic of Gamers gaming motherboard. But this is because I'm not an LN2 overclocker. I'm a gamer. ASUS has Republic of Gamers series of motherboards to cover both gamers and overclockers, unlike other companies. In some other companies, for example MSI or Gigabyte, they have different series of motherboards for different requirements. In MSI, for example, the X power and the M power is for overclocking, while the gaming series is called gaming. In Gigabyte, it is the same thing. Gaming series is called gaming, and the overclocking series is called SoC. ASUS has Republic of Gamers series for both. Okay, I'm not saying this is wrong or right or good or bad. This is their strategy. I'm just saying that. Thank you, everybody. Please go and bash this like button if you like this video, and please share it also among your friends, especially friends who are considering buying a new motherboard.